gentlemen, I want to be very honest with you, straight to the point. You know, these people where they are rich people, these are the kind of people that should be outside, and then you post the outside. Somebody do regular, that free ticket, they can't enter. You don't post now on Facebook, we're outside, grass. Now the land of some, they reply on that now. Say, stay outside, but I don't lock your door. I don't know who for brings this for Catholic girl. They speak English, so they listen. On Thursday, NYS is doing pass happening with it. They're gonna pop. I mean, one girl on post on Facebook, I just passed the week. Normally, I say, I don't comment. Oh yeah, rest in peace. So, speak English, when they listen. I met four girls one day at West Market. I see the person, what's your name? Say Maureen. I don't know what's your name. Say Irene. What's your name? Catherine. The fourth one was just don't think things. She wanted to march. She said you rain. Now, maybe the advisor, do you know that you really need peace? Now, my master was very peaceful when they did better. Which one are they for? Which one are they for?
All right, let's give you something to smile about, right? It's been a long week, in fact, long 2 weeks here in Nigeria. So every glimmer of hope here, joy there, it is very important. We have joining us, as you've seen there, Keobaba Johnson. Well, you know him as the mayor of Pitakwa. He's a stand-up comedian, and he joins us virtually on the program this morning. Welcome to the Morning Brief, Mayor of Pitakwa.
Yeah, good morning.
I saw you laughing at your jokes. You know, your jokes have to be that good for you to even laugh at it after you've written, delivered, and you're hearing it again. But clearly, there are no protests happening in Pitakwa as a mayor of Pitakwa, so I'm sure you're excited about that. But that your material was targeting women, ladies. What do you have against ladies?
No. Okay, first thing, I'm pro-women. A lot of my materials are pro-women.
Right.
Of course, yes. But that particular material was about women. I don't like too much for me. You too, you don't like too much for me. Just trying to tell them that no form. That's that level. But most of my content are pro-women. Everybody said, yo, you too, they support women with your jokes. And that's how I am.
All right, I had to do that on behalf of some ladies. Maybe some of them are guilty of those things that you said. Maybe that's why they felt attacked. But absolutely, it's good to see your body of work. And I've said it time and again that, well, a group of artists, well, pardon me to call you that I respect a lot, are comedians. Because the way you weave together issues to make people laugh in spite of their state of mind needs to be studied. Maybe you have a special place in heaven, you know, for making people forget about this. Sorry, but we want to know your story because we know there's a story behind the glory, right? So speak to us. What made you who you are today? Your life experiences, growing up, and all of those things. How did it come together to make you the mayor of Pitakwa?
So I'm a Dio boy. If you've been in Port Harcourt, there's an area called Dio. Dio is like a Jebule. So, but I didn't just move into comedy because I just started too young. And when I was anchoring events, I was doing the anchoring for free. At one point, I discovered that I was very spontaneous. I was good with making people laugh. Yes. I started my career working in a shipping company as a radio boy. Very good reading. So when the company was folding up, Amstan Shipping, some people will know that name because it was a big shipping company in Port Harcourt then. And I started doing motivational speaking. From motivational speaking, I was emceeing. When I was emceeing, I would make people laugh. And people would call me comedian. I said, no, I'm not a comedian. I'm just funny. I got to a point I started, they were inviting me to do stand-up comedy. We don't want you to MC. We want you to come make people laugh 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And you're not paying. Sometimes it's free. Sometimes they give you food you eat. I was doing my thing until on a particular day I had a call to MC a wedding. And I said, okay, give me 10,000. They said, no, 1,000. I said, no, 2. They said 5. I said, no. They said 4. I said 3. They said 3. So my first paid job was 3,000 naira. Fast forward to many years after, I do like 300 times that amount. Like by the grace of God, I do I do that 7 figure at this point. The beauty of it is in doing comedy too. I was a comedian for many years. Nobody was putting me on their platform. So what I did was, as a comedian, I started doing shows and events, and I started using a hall that I paid just 10,000. I didn't even pay. Man, to buy for 5,000 or so. But right now, I built a comedy brand. My style of comedy is clean and classy. That's why most churches in Port Harcourt, most companies in Port Harcourt, they prefer my styles because it's clean and it's classy. Right now, we host the biggest stand-up comedy show in Port Harcourt. We use an event center that is 5,000 capacity fee. Our tickets are, somebody said I have the most expensive ticket because some of my table tickets are as much as 5 million naira, and people pay for it. I don't know why they pay because of comedy or they pay because I do a lot of community service activism and youth empowerment. But I can tell you that the journey has not been smooth, but it has been very, very successful.
All right, Gil. So normally, most of the time, when we see big names in the entertainment and creative industry, it's always about mostly Lagos. But you stuck to your guns and you decided to stay in the garden city of Port Harcourt, pulling your craft and all of that. Maybe you tell us the secret why you decided to just say, look, you guys can go to your Lagos and do your thing, but I'll be here and I'll do my thing and I'll be here and go global. So tell us how you do it and what the challenges are.
Okay, Jeff, you were with us too. You ran away, and okay. For me, my proteges will say, "Boss, you have odophobia." Like, I'm not someone who likes to travel, but I'm also not satisfied with the point that when you get to a level in Port Harcourt, you have to move to Lagos. It's always Lagos. So it was a personal decision for me that I want to stay in Port Harcourt. Now, staying in Port Harcourt, I've been able to raise other comedians, raise musicians. In fact, I have a brand, Gems of Pitakwa. I have a lot. I recently started a talent factory. We call it Alcoholic Talent Factory. And what we do, we train actors, actresses, PRO people, and it's for free. Wanting to stay in Port Harcourt is because I am passionate about seeing the region, South Niger Delta, have its own visibility, have people who can create and entertain from this region. Now, the challenge is most times we do not get the kind of visibility that we get. It's just, that's why I love channels and a few other. You still know how to cover things from the part of the country, and it's unique. So the challenge is we don't get that much visibility. As I speak to you, my colleagues in Lagos will be on 10 TV stations right now. My colleagues in Port Harcourt, I'm likely the only one right now having this opportunity to speak on an international platform. And also in Port Harcourt, you don't get that corporate partnership. When you want to do an event in Port Harcourt, they send it to our Lagos office. Send it to our Lagos office. That's always the news. That's what we hear every time. Send it to our Lagos office. And we face that challenge. Some people talk about insecurity, but I don't see insecurity in Port Harcourt. Maybe because I'm an activist and somebody who knows how to engage people and do a lot of things. But I can say it's not been easy. And staying back in Port Harcourt, let me set this instance. Like, for instance, Dan Humors is not in Port Harcourt anymore, and a couple of persons are not in Port Harcourt. It was easier for me to also have their client base patronize me sometimes as well. So I stayed back. I enjoyed a couple of things that others were not getting. I stayed back. I had the opportunity to develop great platforms for a lot of young talent. And as I speak to you now, I have entertainers, I have people who say, please, one day will you leave this town? Don't leave this town, because it's like a value chain. A lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of careers, a lot of destinies are tied to some of the projects and events that I do.
Yeah.
So staying here for me is a blessing. It might not be financially, but in terms of social impact and trying to do things that profits humanity and the society at large here, that gives me joy.
And that's the beauty of pursuing your dreams. By doing that, you unconsciously give others permission to also shine, and then you light others with your own dream that you're pursuing, creating jobs, indirect jobs, and the rest. So it's good to hear. There are lots of things that we need to know about you. People are curious. What does Pitakwa mean? Is it a meal? Is it a slang? Is it just a word that means something? So you tell us that. That's one. Two, your name is very interesting. Your name is Johnson Johnson, right? So again, that's something people want to know. There are lots of things, but let's start with that, and then we'll come to your craft, how you put those content together and deliver. But first, Pitakwa. What does Pitakwa mean? And then, how did you come up with that very iconic name, Johnson Johnson?
Okay, so it's just like we call Nigeria Niger, that's the same way we call Pitakwa, we call Port Harcourt Pitakwa. I was very small. The late Bumaire Kosima, the broadcaster, and somebody that was very influential to us as kids in Port Harcourt. It was the first person I heard that word from. When he does his pidgin English news, he will call Port Harcourt Pitakwa. So one day we sat down somewhere, my friends were complaining. Yes, we're Nigerians, so we are permitted to complain about some of the things that are happening in the government. And the then governor was planning to do a local government election. When my colleagues, my friends, Benudumo, and a couple of persons, they were telling me, and Baba, we won't make contest. I said, no, we're joking about it. I got home and then I got the graphics, vote K.O. Baba Johnson for mayor of Port Harcourt. And they posted it on Facebook. It was like viral, like fire. I was getting calls, we were sharing, I would vote this guy. He's not indigent, but he's very selfless and engaging. So when I saw that, I decided to change it to an event and a project instead of contesting the election, which is not, for me, was not my interest or passion. So I changed the Port Harcourt to Pitakwa, which is Mayor of Pitakwa. And because I'm a comedian, I made it a comedy show. It was a subtitle for my comedy show. That particular edition of the comedy show was affected by COVID-19. So we moved it to the next year. I've paid for all, done publicity, a couple of things. It was affected. We moved it to the next year. And when we got to the next year, we had to even, it was no more a subtitle. It became the event proper. So guess what? We're still having that spread of COVID. There was lockdown, but a lot of people came for the event. There was lockdown because the event was supposed to be from 6 p.m. We moved the event to 2 p.m. Even at 2 p.m., if you know Aztec Outcome in Port Harcourt, then it was like it's the second largest hall in our city. And the show was successful. I finished the show. I had to go into charity from the blessings of the show. And people started calling me Mayor of Pitakwa. And that's how I was able to craft and create that brand for myself. I'll say, yes.
All right. So, yeah, that's why your name is Johnson Johnson. So, in answering that as well, you you help us also. Okay, maybe you answer that first before I come to my own question.
Maybe I'm dodging that question.
Okay, you're dodging the question.
So my name is Johnson. My family's name is Johnson.
Oh,
that's my family's name. My actual name, my dad gave me is Johnson, and then my family's name is Johnson. So we put them together as Johnson Johnson.
It sounds very foreign.
Yeah, it sounds really, really foreign. I'm only one family I've seen answering the same surname, and they are English. They are not Nigerians as well. And you definitely know my name is K.O. Baba, but my name K.O. Baba is gotten from the word Koku. So people started calling me K.O. From K.O. When I started comedy, I was answering MC K.O. And one day I went for an event. A lady said, "Are you the MC?" Yes. What's the name? I said MC K.O. Okay, MC K.O. Baba. And the Baba just came. Ali Baba was popping on my head, and a couple of Baba was I just say, yes, let me start answering J.O. Baba. That's
All
it. For the Johnson, that's my family's name.
All right. Let's walk through your creative process. There are different people. There are different ways people get inspired to come up with their own content. What works for you? Some people need a space. Some people it's everyday life. Some people there are various ways people get inspired. How does it work for you that you come up with your material?
Okay, what works for me is stay alone, stay indoors. One, I don't sleep. Okay, I don't eat, I don't sleep. I just take cook water. So most times in the night, if you chat me up and I'm awake, I'm awake most midnight, like awake. I don't sleep. I do maybe 3-4 hours sleep per day. So when I'm awake, I think a lot. I'm intentional about it. I meditate. I can say, like I want to do now. A couple of things is happening with the protest. So what I'm going to do on Saturday and Sunday night, I will just be awake and meditating. What can I create from the protest that will make people laugh and they also see a message in it? I'm intentional with that. Number two, I'm a very spontaneous person. When I'm reading things and I sit down, I get an insight, I go to my notepad. And when I'm in church, my pastor is Pastor Larry Lucia of House on the Rock. So when he's preaching, it's very spontaneous and it makes us laugh. I hear people laugh and others are laughing. Me, when I'm laughing, I'm saying, how do I make this a joke? I just type on my notepad. I do that a lot. When I'm online too, sometimes I read a couple of things and then I take them and I try to create from them. That's how it works for me.
Interesting. So just imagine for a moment that this is your biggest show yet. You're performing for 200 million Nigerians. I know you've had your experiences, the good, bad, and the ugly, as a performer naturally. But right now, which is what it is, 200 million Nigerians are watching from different ethnic groups, different religions, different...
Are you sure we're not more than 200 million Nigerians?
There you go. So we're... until we do a census too. So what would be the perfect material for an audience like Nigeria? Because I know this is something you've also done a lot. Is there a material that you have that is perfect for Nigeria right now to make Nigerians smile? Nigerians need that, right?
If I want to do a material, it has to be political. If you travel abroad and then you see a legislator, you see a government person, and maybe armed robbers wanted to rob the person and say, come, your life or your money, give me your life or your money. And the guy said, no, I'm a senator, you can't do this. Okay, sorry, you make laws for us, you make our life better, pass. In Nigeria, armed robbers stop somebody, say, come, your life or your money. Say, no, you can't do this. You can't do this. I'm a senator, I'm a commissioner, I'm a governor. Your life or your money, I'm a senator. Okay, no problem. Your life or you give us our money because you know free. And they hold our money. So when they reach them, then they need to collect their money, now they hold our money. So that's the perfect materials for them.
It just speaks to how comedians are, you have to be in touch with what's happening in the polity, because then your jokes will be flying over people's heads. Imagine you're talking about something entirely different when people are feeling things. So let me just ask you before Jeffrey comes in, do you feel that, or do you feel like you put in a lot more into your craft than other performers? I know there's been that beef between comedians and musicians. Say musicians will do the same material. In fact, people will be singing along with them. But you as a comedian, you have to keep reinventing your material, else they'll say, this one is stale.
Yeah, I think we do more than the musicians. We do more than the musicians. For us comedians, you must be updated. For us comedians, you must be like, sometimes I'm reading. Why am I reading something? I'm just reading so that if I'm cracking a joke about the economy, I want to give fact. Like, for instance, I was creating a material about federal government giving 100, saying they've released 570 billion. And I also saw a video of the Kano State governors brandishing wheelbarrow, and I'm looking at that. This morning I'm filling up the same news because I'm not done with the material, and I'm hearing the governor of your state saying this money, no, now money we spend for COVID-19, then they return it. So you get that. And for us comedians, because I want to sound very intelligent and why I make people laugh, I will follow these updates very well. And not just that, for the musicians, one song. Duncan Mighty is my friend, and I can tell you that he's one of the most relevant musicians. Duncan has not dropped album for some few years now, but every time he gets on stage, Duncan gives you a good show because he's a musician. The same thing to a lot of them. Comedians, we are very careful. You can't go to a particular place, you crack the same joke again and again. Now, comedy has also gone wide. You're doing comedy, you're doing skits, you're doing shows. You don't just, for me too, you're doing charity. That's how it is for us. You're doing stand-up comedy, you're acting, skit and a couple of things. You're also hosting events, and not just in one city. Some of these events, we do it across borders, across cities. Not just that, you also know that as a comedian, you have to do charity and community service as well. We do it even much more than the musicians. So our workload heavy. The musicians are making a lot of money from streams, from maybe one music. For us comedians, from one joke, you cannot make that same money from streams. So it's difficult and tense for us as comedians.
All right, Kale.
The expectation is very high for us.
All right. So one more question for me is, I was born in the city of Port Harcourt, so I have a lot of love for the city.
Yes.
What kind of future do you like to see, or would you like to see, for the creative space? So covering all of you, not just comedy, so that people can be like you. What I mean by that is people can stay back and develop. I know you accuse some of us of running away. We didn't run away. We're just expanding our frontiers.
Okay. Not just about comedy for the creative ecosystem in our city. What I want to see, I want us to enjoy more corporate partnership. I want us to enjoy some of the things I've seen the president talk about digital and creative economies fund, and most times when they say those things, you only get that fund in Lagos and in Abuja. We don't get those funds here, and it gives me a lot of concern. During the former president, what I do here most times is I scout for informations and then I spread it around because a lot of people look up to me as well. So I want us to enjoy that kind of access to informations and funds and resources that are available for the creative industry. I saw one, they said Providence Bank. I had to call the bank myself and I asked questions. And I can tell you for real, I don't want to discuss the feedback that I got when I called. It was just a case of far from the reality, from what we hear in the news. So I also want to see an industry where we are operating in Port Harcourt, in Bayelsa, across the region, and the media is giving us the kind of attention they are giving in Lagos, that kind of attention. When I host my event, when my colleagues host their events, they get a lot of media support. For us here, the media support is very, very minimal. Minimal or nothing.
And this is putting out word to all the stakeholders responsible. If we say that we want to give jobs, we want to build the economy, we need to pay attention to the creative sector and your subsector as well. So this is an SOS. And of course, we know that the stakeholders are listening. We'd like to thank you so much, Keo Baba. You have lots of names. Johnson Jansen, real name, that's for the check. Keo Baba, for the comedy, and the mayor of Pitakwa. Thank you for your time on the show. Wish you the very best. Our regards to the citizens of Pitakwa.
Our principal also encourage our government to pay attention to the entertainment sector.
Absolutely.
And we are like the highest employers of labor across now.
Indeed.
The governors and all of the people across, they are not paying attention to entertainment and creatives, and that gap they need to bridge. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.